Hello and welcome to the video overview of Floating Animal Isle. Floating Animal Isle is a game for 2 to 4 players, and it revolves around the idea that this is an island full of animals and you're a god recreating this island in your image. So the idea is pretty simple. Each player will receive 3 objective cards from the objective deck, and then once each player has received their 3 objective cards, they flip them face up. So, for example, these objective cards are pretty simple. I need to make reptiles in this kind of C shape, and I can have it in any direction. So I could have it like this, or like this, or like this. So I could have like this shape, or this shape, or whatever. Or I need to have birds in this shape, this kind of like weird shape here. Or I need to have 5 mammals inland. I'll explain what inland means in a second. I'm going to move these out of the way for the time being. So, like I said, this is an island, and everywhere around the island is the sea. Everywhere within one card of the island is considered inland. Now, what does that mean? So, for example, this reptile is on the coast, because it's next to the sea. But this space here is considered inland, because there is no sea connecting it, and it's one card away from the sea. So, 1, 2, or 1, 2. Diagonals don't count, and so if this card wasn't here, this space would still be inland because this space is sea. Well, this space is inland, this space is sea, and they're one card away, basically. So, how does this game work? Each player will get a hand of 4 cards, and on their turn they will take one of their cards and they will play it onto the island, and they can play it either on the inland spaces or in the sea spaces, as long as it has one edge along another edge of another card. Okay? There is 2 rules you have to keep in mind. The island can never A, be flooded, or B, be overrun. Because if it's overrun, it sinks. So what does flooded mean? Flooded means if at any point the sea connects to, say if this card wasn't here, the sea connects to the empty spaces inland, then the island is considered flooded. If at any point there is less than 2 inland spaces that are open, then the island is considered overrun and sinks. So, like I said, on a player's turn, they'll take a card and they'll place it, keeping in mind those 2 rules. So I could place it here if I wanted to. Now, when you place a card, each card has an action on it. And these actions come in 5 varieties. The swim action is pretty simple. You take any card. Oh, by the way, all these actions can be done on any card that is currently on the island. Even though you just placed a card, you could choose this card, you could choose another card if you wanted to. So, this bird I've just placed has the swim action, so I can make something swim. Now what does that mean? I could take this reptile, for example, and make it swim all the way around the island to here. You can take any card that is adjacent to the sea and place it in another space that is adjacent to the sea. It's as simple as that. They swim to a new location. Again, this is perfectly a legal move because although this is sea, we still have 3 inland spaces here. Okay, so that's swim. Next, we have the hunt action. This mammal has the hunt action. Hunt means you can take a card and move it to any of the adjacent 8 spaces, including diagonals, onto the top of another card. So you can move on top of this bird, or on top of this reptile, or on top of this bird here. When you do that, let's say I have it moving on top of this bird, the card that it has hunted goes away. This card, because it has an action on it, isn't one of the basic cards, goes into a discard pile and will be shuffled into the deck later. This is still a legitimate island, because like I said, there's 2 inland spaces. Even though these 2 spaces are here. So this is perfectly fine. This would be a perfectly valid move. The migrate action is exactly the same as a hunt action, apart from you can only move into empty spaces instead of spaces that have another card in. So this reptile could migrate to here, or it could migrate to here. You can, like I said, you can even migrate out to sea into an empty space beside the sea. So you can migrate to here, or it can migrate to here. It could not migrate into here because, like I said, there needs to be 2 open spaces inland at all times. So let's just say the reptile migrates out here. Now it's made a 3rd inland space. This space is considered inland, even though it was sea a second ago, because this reptile appeared, made land, and then migrated out to sea, and you've made more land. So that's how migrate works. Pounce is pretty simple. You place the card like normal, and then you choose a single card to jump 2 spaces orthogonally, so up, down, left, or right. So you can have this mammal pounce over to here, or pounce over to here, or pounce up to here, or pounce down to here. Now, if it goes to these 3 spaces, it'll land on something else, and it'll act just like hunt action. If it lands on something else, then the card will go away. If it's a basic card, I haven't explained how these work, these just go back in the box when they get removed from the table. If it lands in an open space, if it's inland or sea, it just sits there and makes new land. So this is a perfectly legal move, because it can jump over into the sea. Finally, we have breed. Now breed is pretty simple. You place the card, breed allows you to place a second card. Now the second card you do not get the action for. So even though I played a reptile with breed, and then played a bird with migrate, I do not get to do the migrate action because I've already taken an action this turn. Actions are also compulsory. So if you play a card with an action on it, you have to take that action. So if you play a card with an action that you cannot do for any reason whatsoever, then you cannot play that card. The winner is the first person to basically complete all 3 of their objectives. If the deck runs out and players play all the remaining cards in the deck, in their hands after the deck runs out, then the player with the most objectives complete wins, and if there's still a tie, then those players share the victory. That is how you play Floating Animal Isle.